Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel, and in our top stories from ground news, Russia to try recovering downed U.S. drone as U.S. vows to protect our equities. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you were not familiar, as we go over here to the UK Daily Mail, drama over the Black Sea. This happened yesterday, March the 14th. So, a pair of Russian SU-27 jets intercepted a U.S. MQ-9 drone over the Black Sea and dumped fuel on the drone as to impair it or inhibit it, of course. And one of them recklessly flies too close to the drone several times before hitting the propeller. So they were obviously doing maneuvers there in the Black Sea. So for ladies and gentlemen here, I brought up the Black Sea for you. As you can see, it is north of Turkey and just south of Ukraine. And then, of course, here is Crimea, where, of course, the continuing Russian, what they call the special operation is continuing. Now, I'm going to kind of draw a line here with my cursor as to where the flight took place. It was along here just above Turkey and was just kind of looping around in this area here, so where my cursor is. And, of course, this is international waters for the most part, and Russia was just probably doing their own little flying in this area as well and came across the drone. Now, as we go over here to NBC News, Russia says it will try to retrieve drone after warning U.S. to stop hostile flights near its borders. Now, of course, these are typical posturing words that both the U.S. and China and all the others, all of our adversaries say to one another about the constant posturing that does go on. Now, this is not unusual for Russia to do these things because they fly near Alaska and in other areas where the United States operates. So they do this often. And, of course, the U.S. there in the South China Sea, as well in the Black Sea, also do their own sorts of engagements, as it were, or reconnaissance and just flights and probing and so forth. So the Kremlin has warned the United States to cease hostile activity near its borders and said it would seek to retrieve the wreckage of the American drone. Now, I just showed you on the map. It's really nowhere near Russia, unless they want to suggest that Crimea is obviously their occupied area and that they're going there to protect it, because where they were closer, far closer to Turkey than they were to Russia. So Kyiv said Wednesday that the incident, the first known direct confrontation between the two superpowers since Russia invaded Ukraine last year, illustrated that the Kremlin's desire to expand the conflict, or their desire to expand on the conflict. The U.S. military said a Russian fighter jet harassed and then collided with the propeller of the MQ-9 Reaper on Tuesday, forcing the U.S. to bring the drone down in international waters. Washington said it was a brazen violation of international law and summoned Moscow's envoy to lodge a protest. So this is not very unusual. Now, what is unusual is that the pilots actually engaged with the drone. Now, their actions were probably seen as just a form of, bullying type play among the bullies that they are there in Russia, because that's what they do. They intimidate and they antagonize, very much like the Chinese do. And this is not unusual in these posturing, brinkmanship type maneuvers. But nonetheless, it is rather concerning. And as we learn from the UK Daily Mail, there's a race to find the crashed U.S. drone, and Moscow warns it will try to get its hands on downed 32 million Reaper to secure propaganda coup as scramble to recover wreckage from Black Sea gets underway. So the idea here, of course, is that even if Russia, just say hypothetically, even gets their hands on it, they're not going to be able to do very much with it, much less get parts or other material they would need to make their own drones, which they already have, because now they're getting most of their drones now from Iran, and not to mention the fact that their supplies have been so depleted, they can't even use their own gear. They're bringing out equipment and vehicles from World War II and from the 50s and 60s and some in the 70s. And of course, they're afraid to fly their newest equipment or use their newest equipment or their newest technology. And that, a lot of it is because of the fact that the fact is they can't repair it. They can't use it. They can't repair it. So, of course, you have to deal with the fact that now this is one of their SUs here, and then here's the MQ-9. And the irony of it all is that it's a continuing posturing on Russia. And I just don't see either Russia or China being able to capably get involved in these wars financially, because here's Russia, a superpower, going against Ukraine which doesn't have nearly, not even remotely the same level of technology that Russia has. And as you can see here, it's showing Ukraine and in the Black Sea, and happened in international airspace, as I said earlier. So the MQ-9 Reaper here, Russian fighter jet takes down U.S. drone. 32 million U.S. drone down in the Black Sea. This is not even the most sophisticated drone that the United States has. This is kind of a bit of an old school drone, actually. But nonetheless, so there's John Kirby talking about it. So it's very interesting how this continues to escalate. And of course, the idea here is to provoke the United States into engaging in activity. China may also escalate its activity to also provoke the United States, because right now, as you guys know, we've had 3 banks fail here in the United States. And of course, we're still suffering from the financial issues based upon the choices that Joe Biden has made, or more specifically, the establishment who wanted to make sure that Donald Trump did not become president and therefore benefit the country and America, and of course improve relations across the world, because we had no wars under Trump, but we've had plenty under, well, we've had an incident here under Joe Biden. Of course, you could technically say that it happened while he was vice president as well during the Obama administration. But nonetheless, guys, we can see the continuing escalation happening there. And this happened to take place in the Black Sea, which is really kind of cut off from most of the United States and even Britain. Of course, they got to go through the straits there in Turkey to even access it right through here. They go through Istanbul, right? So they have to go through the straits here. There's like a canal that goes through here in Istanbul for them to access it. So they have to get permission actually from Turkey to be able to go through. And Turkey probably allows it to happen. I believe there's some British ships there. But the maneuvers were just along here, as I showed you, just along this area here, just above Turkey. And it was shot down just above this area here. So, of course, there's all going to be semantics and lines drawn and where areas are and boundaries, and this sort of things are going to continue to happen. But it is kind of an interesting provocation where the Russian jets actually engaged with an American vehicle, with an American military vehicle. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this for you guys. I want to thank all of you now for your continued support of the channel as we go through our phase here this particular month. So all of you guys on New Tech as well. So appearing there on the screen, that would be the channel icon. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as long as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video.